Hey buddies, how are you? This is Assistant Professor Kailesh Muralidhar Jaitwar and I welcome you all in this platform. This lecture is for BCCA Sem 1 students for financial accounting. And let me tell you this, कि भाई, today we will going to deal with the last problem of our journal entries. In next lecture we will not going to take journal entries, okay? So if you have any doubt till now, you can text me, you can call me for any query related to journal entries. But we will not going to take practical questions on journal entry because we are too much left behind with our course. So we want to shift our focus to some other topics which are in your syllabus in unit 1. So to complete that, we will going to stop practical questions from of journal entries from this lecture. So to give more importance to this lecture, I have given some entries which are like this are not in journal sense. So what are they? We can see on blackboard. Sorry, that's on whiteboard. We have shifted our recording room here. So what we have written, you can see. But before going to that, I want to appeal that please read as much you can. Please solve the practical question on journal entries as much as you can. I will try to give you practical questions on journal entries, but this is your prime duty to work hard on previous questions. You have to deal with previous questions from previous videos to tackle all types of difficulties which can be generated while you are solving your assignments and your homework. So this is good that you are giving too much focus to our videos. That is good, but this is not enough. Only 30 of you are watching videos regularly and giving assignments at time, giving homeworks at time. So this should not be the case because your class is containing right now nearly 120 students. So this is not good figure. So I want to appeal that please watch our videos on continuous basis and try to solve all types of journal entries with very much conscious focus. So to give more emphasis on today's lecture, I want to say that please go through all the previous lectures to grab journal entries, different types of journal entries in which is in your syllabus. So to motivate you, I want to tell you this is the situation where the situation means the corona situation, the COVID situation, which is too much burdening, too much curse on us. But this bad thing can be converted into good when you are materializing this. That means you are materializing this means you have to work hard at the time when all of the students are not giving attention at proper basis. So you have opportunity, you have lots of ample amount of time to grab different types of opportunity in our academic section. So you can do as much as you can, and if you have lots of time, please give focus to your academic career, plan your career and study well to grab future opportunities. Okay, so I cannot give this type of lecture in every lecture because we have time restriction. We are time bounded with this recording session. So these types of lines cannot be here in next lecture. So please, you have to give concentration to your academic career, to your social career, what you can do as a social animal. You can give focus more on your daily newspapers, and in previous lectures also I have said that you must read some newspapers like Economic Times, Business Standards. These types of newspapers provide you the activities which is currently happening in the practical world in the at the global level. So you have to consider the newspaper reading, the news reading or news watching, international news watching, regional news watching at continuous basis, so that you can develop a good understanding level at practical basis. So this is how you can develop your thinking by doing this all. So I want to put full stop to this these words. Now I want to start our last problem of journal entries, and this journal entries is in the books of Mr. Tom Limited. Tom has started business and want to record financial transaction in the journal entries form. So we are the financial accountant, and Tom has reached us to solve journal entries, to provide journal entries to different types of transaction. So list of transaction is here. So this list you can read it at properly. So this is our question. So in our question, that means in our practical problem, that means in our transaction list, our first transaction is commenced business with cash 1 lakh and land 5 lakhs. So what can be the entry? This is too much easy. We are doing this from so long. So you have to give your attention, you have to give entry before I speak, before I write here, before I provide logic to that entry. So what can be the entry? Pause for 10 seconds and give that journal entry before me. And journal entry for this is cash account debited 1 lakh, land account debited 1 lakh to capital account. I have provided direct entry. Why direct? Because I have provided logics in previous lectures. So we cannot give too much time to same thing because we have lots of syllabus. So you have to see previous lectures to attain and retain logic. So why cash account debited? Cash and land. Why we have debited cash and land? Cash and land are asset, and when we are saying asset, golden rules for real account will be applied, and cash is coming in and land is coming in. Land is totally the thing which cannot shift it from one place to the other, but the value of land is coming into the business. So land is asset, cash is asset, and both are coming in. So both are coming in, that means cash is coming in, land is coming in. That means debit what comes in, that's why cash account and land account will be debited, and what amount will be credited then? The capital account. Why? You can imagine, and if you are unable to imagine, please watch previous videos, right? So cash account debited to cash account debited, land account debited to capital account. I am writing here. So cash account will be debited. Cash account will be debited with what will be the amount? 1 lakh rupees, 1 lakh. Land account will be debited. Land account will be debited with rupees 5 lakh to capital account. So what you can do is, before completion of this lecture, you can make journal entries for these all transaction by your own. Okay, write all journal entries by pausing videos and roughly write all journal entries before I complete all video. So pause the video and try to capture all entries by your own. This is the opportunity. So pause the video and try to make journal entries for these 9 transactions by your own. Okay, what can happen by this? You can get what are you thinking and what is actually the question or transaction is saying. So if both are correct, that means you have learned how to make journal entries. But if it is not, so you have to see previous videos. Okay. So what will be the narration then? Being Mr. Tom. Mr. Tom is our business owner. So Mr. Tom commenced business with cash and land. So I am not writing narration here. You can write your own. Okay. Coming to the second entry. What is the second entry? Paid rent in advance rupees 6,000 to Mr. E. Mr. E is a person to whom we have paid salary, paid rent in advance. Paid rent in advance. Rent is my expense. Mr. E is receiver and cash is going out. How we can find logic? We cannot debit or credit any expenses or any income until that expense or income hasn't accrued. So here rent hasn't accrued yet. We are paying rent in advance. That's why rent account will not be debited or credited. So what we can debit or what we can credit? So we are paying something. That's why we are paying something means cash will be going out. So cash account will be credited and what will be debited? Prepaid rent account. Why prepaid rent account? This is the representation of Mr. E. Mr. E is receiver here. That's why Mr. E's account should be debited. But this is not applied here. Mr. E is receiver. But we are using here representation of account. Representation of account means we have to use representative personal account. Representative personal account in our case is prepaid rent account. Instead of using Mr. E's account, we will going to use prepaid rent account. If you haven't clear about this, you can see previous lecture, the previous one, in which I have given detailed explanation. So what can be the entry? Instead of debiting Mr. E's account, because he is receiver, we are debiting prepaid rent account. Why? Because of representation of account, representative personal account. So we are debiting prepaid rent account. Debit to prepaid rent account will be debited by 6,000 to cash account. Are you understanding? Cash account. Why cash account? Because cash is going out. Okay. Third one. This is somewhat critical entry. You have to focus too much on this on the transaction number 3, because this transaction is very simple, but that has shuffled out to make that transaction somewhat harder than previous one. So what is the transaction? Let us understand what is the transaction. So we have purchased goods. We have purchased goods worth rupees 50,000. Okay, no issue. This is the common one. So we have purchased goods of rupees 50,000, but paid 20,000 by check. We have paid 20,000. For 50,000 we have paid 20,000 by check, and balance on credit basis. So again, let's try to take accounts involved in this transaction. So first of all, we have to consider purchase account. Another one, paid by check. If it is like paid in cash, so cash account will be debited or credited. But here we are using paid by check. That means instead of using cash, we will going to write here bank, because bank clears the check. That's why bank account will be considered here. And coming to the second part, and balance on credit from Mr. C. So Mr. C's account. So we have 3 accounts. So purchase account will be debited with no doubt, because that one is expense, and we say we used to use golden rule of nominal account, debit all expenses. That's why purchase account will be debited. And now bank is receiver or giver. So before going to bank, I want to write here rupees 50,000. For what amount we have purchased? We have purchased for 50,000. So purchase account will be debited with the full amount of 50,000. And bank account. So bank here is receiver or giver. Bank is here giver of money. We will be giving money now. So bank, from our part, from our side, bank will going to pay to Mr. C. So bank is giving money to Mr. C. So bank is giver here. So bank account will be credited. So if this is the case of Mr. C, so this is the case of credit transaction, and in the credit transaction we used to credit party's account. So party's account will be credited. Why? Because that one is giver of goods. That's why Mr. C's account will be credited. But what will be the amount for bank? For bank, we are paying 20,000 by check. That's why here we will going to write 20,000. And we are receiving goods of rupees 30,000 as on credit basis. So as on credit basis we will going to write here 30,000. Okay. That is how you can make your entry. Let's plot that entry properly. So you have to consider what accounts are involved here, how we can debit or credit them, how we can put numbers in front of them. These all types of thinking should be considered in your mind while you are making journal entries. So what is how we can plot entry here? Purchase account will be debited with rupees 50,000, because we have purchased goods for rupees 50,000. We have paid by check. Means bank account. Bank account will be credited because bank is giver here. Bank is giver of 20,000 only. That's why bank will be credited by 20,000. And next account which we will going to credit, that one is Mr. C's account. Mr. C's account, and amount will be the balance one. 50,000 minus 20,000, that comes to 30,000. That is how you can make entry. And what can be the narration? Being purchased goods by giving check for 20,000 and balance on credit basis from Mr. C. That is how we can close this. Coming to the fourth one. What is the fourth one? Withdrawn goods rupees 2,000 by Tom. So Tom is owner, and for personal use Tom has withdrawn goods. That means goods are going out. So when goods are going out and Tom is receiver. So Tom is receiver, and in previous lecture we have seen, for drawing of anything, drawing of cash, drawing of goods, drawing of assets, for anything, if owner is withdrawing something from business, so we have to debit drawings account. Drawings account will be debited with rupees 2,000. And when goods are coming in, so we have debited purchase. But at the time when goods are going out, we can credit purchase. When goods are coming, so we can debit purchase, and when goods are going, we can credit purchase. But this logic cannot apply here, because the purchase account cannot be credited, but impact of that can be reduced by writing here to goods withdrawn by proprietor account. Proprietor means owner. Who is owner here? Tom. So goods withdrawn by proprietor account. And we will going to see this entry in very detail when we will going to study final account. Okay, so don't put too much stress if you are not understanding this entry. That can be understood when you have studied the final account. So while we are making trading account, P&L account, that time I will going to tell you this entry again. Don't worry. Okay, 2000. And what can be the narration? Goods withdrawn by proprietor. So we have completed 1, 2, 3, 4 and not fifth. So what is fifth entry? So fifth is given rupees 500 as penny. 500 as penny means we have provided 500 as chanda. Chanda means that chanda, not the name of lady. The chanda means we have provided money to someone as charity. You can imagine the festival of Ganesh Utsav, festival of Durga Puja, when the committee members used to come in on our doors, and they used to ask for us for chanda. Please give us chanda for getting statue of Ganesha, statue of Durga. Okay, so that is how you can analyze this transaction. Penny means chanda. Chanda means we have provided money for charity. That means charity is our expense. So charity account will be debited. Why? Because nominal account says debit all expenses and losses, credit all income and gains. So charity is expense. That's why in fifth entry charity is my expense. That's why charity expense account will be debited with rupees 500 to, we are giving cash. Cash is going out. Cash is going out means cash account will be credited. Why? Cash is real account. That one is my asset, and cash is going out. And as real account says debit what comes in, credit what goes out. To debit what comes in, credit what goes out. So cash is going out, so cash account will be credited here with rupees 500. Okay, and how we can write narration for this? Being 500 provided as charity expense. We have completed fifth one. Now we are on sixth one. And what is sixth saying? Sold goods at rupees 80,000 to Mr. D. Very easy entry. We have sold goods to someone, and let's see how much time we have. Okay, we have 5 minutes. We can conclude our entries in 5 minutes. Okay, so we have sold goods. So first account will be sales account, and we have sold goods to Mr. D. So Mr. D's account. So we are selling something. We are selling means sales account is my income. So nominal account says debit all expenses and credit all income and gains. So sales is my income, and that's why sales account will be credited. And Mr. D is a receiver of goods. Why? I am selling something. If I am selling this cloth to someone, and someone is in front of me, and I am giving goods to someone, and the counterparty is receiving goods. That means Mr. D is receiver of goods. That's why Mr. D is a receiver, and personal account says debit the receiver, credit the giver. That's why sixth entry will be Mr. D's account will be debited to sales account with rupees 80,000. With rupees 80,000. That is how you can make entry, and narration will be being goods sold at credit to Mr. D. So now we are on seventh one, salary accrued but not paid. Okay, we haven't paid salary but salary has accrued, so we have to debit this salary because it has accrued but we haven't paid. So cash hasn't went anywhere, but salary has accrued, so we have to debit salary account. Salary account will be debited. Why? Because salary is my expense with rupees 8,000. So we will going to debit salary with rupees 8,000 to. If you have understood previous lecture, you can imagine what I can credit here. What can I credit here? You can take pause of 10 seconds and you can say this to yourself only. So here we will going to write. Say outstanding salary account. And for this I don't want to tell logic you here. Why? Because if I am going to tell you logic here, you are not going to see previous lecture. So you have to watch previous lectures and you have to study properly to get this logic why I have credited here outstanding salary. If you want to get this logic, you can see previous lecture. So to outstanding salary account 8,000. Okay, seventh one has done. Eighth one, paid to Mr. C rupees 10,000 by check. So who is Mr. C? Mr. C, third entry, Mr. C. Mr. C is creditor or supplier for me. That means I have to pay to Mr. C. And what amount I should pay to Mr. C? We have purchased 50,000 goods, in which 20,000 we have paid by check. So we have remained with 30,000, and for 30,000 we are making payment right now. So for 30,000 we will going to deal with 8th transaction. And what is 8th transaction saying? Paid to Mr. C 10,000 by check. Again we are paying 10,000 as by check and 90,000 in cash. We have to pay 30,000 to Mr. C, but we are paying 10 by check, 19,000 by cash. That means we are paying 29,000 only, and 1,000 will be my discount. If you want to get logic, you can see previous lecture. So 8th entry will be, we have how many points? First, we are paying by check. That means bank is giver. That's why bank account will be credited. And who is receiver here? Receiver is Mr. C. So Mr. C is receiver. That's why Mr. C's account will be debited with rupees 30,000, because we want to pay. We are liable to pay 30,000 to Mr. C. That's why 30,000 will be debited. 2. Okay. We are giving check. That means we have to credit bank account. With rupees, we have to debit bank account with rupees 10,000. We are crediting bank with rupees 10,000, and we are paying cash in 19,000. So cash is going out. That's why cash account will be credited with 19,000, and remaining 1,000. If you we have got this. 30,000 minus 10 minus 19,000, so we will be getting 1,000. So that is how you can get, and this will be our discount. For this discount received. So for this you can get logic from previous video and write narration by your own. And how much time we have? 1 minute. Okay. So computer sold. So ninth one, computer sold. And we have received cash sold, and we have paid for 15,000. So we have received cash account will be debited for 15,000, and 20,000 computer sold at 15,000. That's why 5,000 will be our loss. So loss on sale of computer account will be debited with rupees 5000